Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, boxing and MMA fans from around the world. Introducing from Bassett, California, the third man in the ring, Popeye Ray.
Welcome to Third Man in the Ring. I'm your host, Popeye Ray. Hey guys, get on YouTube, share this content, tell your friends to subscribe. Ref Popeye Ray or Third Man in the Ring. Hey guys, today we have an awesome interview. I'm sure you guys are gonna recognize him. We're obviously with CBN Promotions, but you're gonna remember him from Ontario. This guy was a great matchmaker, a great promoter. He used to be with Mr. Thompson. He's had some great fighters. We'll talk about that. We're gonna talk about who he signs, how he signs them, when he's gotta cut them loose, where he's going with the promotion today, how he feels about the referees. I know I'm his favorite, but hey, that's another story. But I want you to give a warm welcome to the promoter slash manager slash friend, Alex Camponovo.
How you doing, Ray?
How you doing, brother?
Good, man.
I hope I didn't butcher your name there. I'm sorry,
Just
brother.
a little bit. It's okay, no problem.
I used to box and I'm a little slow, bro.
What I always say is that I was dropped as a child when I make mistakes, so you know.
Right.
So we're on the same page.
Exactly. So Alex, I see, man, you branched out. That's awesome, bro.
Yes, first of all, Ray, thank you for having me. This is really special for me. We've been trying to do this for a while now, talking about it.
Yeah, I've been pestering him a long time, guys. Yeah.
And finally it has happened. And yes, this is the new venture that I'm involved in that we started in the month of August of last year. We've had already 6 events. We're right now here at the Thunder Studios in Long Beach, California.
Thunder Studios, guys, Long Beach. Real quick, Alex, don't you have a show coming up?
Yes, we have a show on June 22nd.
June 22nd?
Just coming up in the next few days. Should be an exciting event. We're mixing a couple different worlds. That same day, Mexico plays against Jamaica on Copa America and soccer.
Oh, okay.
For all the fans out there. So we're going to start the festivities here at Thunder early on at 5:30. The game begins at 6 o'clock. People can come and watch the game.
Wow.
For a couple hours of fun.
For you sports fans that love our soccer, man, hey, better to have a fight and watch the game?
Exactly. We'll watch the game. We have plenty of, viewing opportunities here. We have a big old screen that you can see here behind us. We're going to have food specials, drink specials for a couple hours, and then the fights will begin after the game at 8 o'clock.
Can't go wrong on that.
Yes, yes.
With that said, Alex, tell the fans a little bit about Alex, where he grew up, how he grew up, when did this start?
I was born in San Francisco, California.
Okay.
My parents are Bolivian. My dad was working here as a military attaché to the Bolivian consulate in San Francisco. Lived here for just a few months. Then we moved back to South America. Since he was an Air Force pilot, we lived everywhere.
Wow.
We lived in Brazil,
Wow.
we lived all over Bolivia. And at the age of 18, I decided to come back to the United States, not knowing a word of English, very little, very basic, to come to school and study here. Went to the School of Broadcasting for a little while at Cal State Long Beach. And then in the year, in 1997, as I was finishing up college, I got a call from Mr. Ken Thompson and the people at his office. He was at the time a executive vice president of what used to be the World Boxing Hall of Fame.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
And he was, his turn to be president was coming about, and he wanted to develop this organization into something a little bit better. It was a non-profit at the time. He knew of my background in broadcasting, although I hadn't had any jobs before that. I had worked for him while I was going to school, doing some stuff in his office. He was in the building material business.
Yeah. Thompson's building material.
Exactly. Right. So got me an interview. They had a board of directors, and I started working for the Hall of Fame from 97 till about 2000.
Let me ask you that, Alex. Were you a boxing fan prior? Or?
Oh yeah, I love the sport.
Always loved boxing.
Always loved boxing. Boxing and soccer was my thing since I was a young guy. Never did any fights, but I used to put the gloves and,
Yeah, Vámonos, huh?
yes.
That's right.
with a couple of my friends back home. I grew up watching the greats, Mike Tyson and Tommy Hearns and Roberto Mano de Piedra Duran, all those guys that were just so great in the 80s. And then, I fell into the job, and in the year 2000, we were going to do an event for a gym in San Bernardino that used to be called School of Hard Knocks. The gentleman that was at the helm of that place came to us, to Mr. Thompson and myself, to see if we could do or help him in this event. He wanted to do a professional boxing show.
Yeah.
We realized very soon that he needed a lot of help, so Ken Thompson got a provisional promoter's license, which was at the time, and we hired a lot of people to do the show, matchmakers and everybody that needed to handle something that we didn't know about.
So you guys went in kind of blinded, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
It was a Monday night in May of 2000. Can't remember the exact date right now, but it was a near disaster.
Wow. Well, I mean, sometimes you got to fall before you could stand up.
Yes, we had a lot of problems leading up to the fight. We didn't know who was going to be on the card. Our main event fell out. What saved us was Dean Lojas at the time, who was the executive officer, told us that Carlos Bojorquez, who used to be a welterweight.
Yes. We know Carlos.
Yeah, junior middleweight, had lost the fight. His fight got canceled for the casino in Pachanga, in Temecula, and that he might be available for us to
put on as a main. Oh yeah.
So,
and he was a local as well.
Yes, he was a local guy, and he was the first fighter that we had on our main event. After that show ended, like I said, we almost nearly didn't have it. I sat down with Ken Thompson, and he says, "Do you want to do this?" And I said, "Sure, but we got to learn everything from scratch, and we got to do it ourselves. Let's not hire anybody else."
Yeah.
And that's when it all started in May 2000, and little by little we developed the company and moved it up to a level that I never imagined we could, because we never had an HBO behind us, a Showtime behind us.
Straight from scratch.
Straight from scratch, grassroots type of a company.
Yeah.
And in the year 2004. We were able to, I decided to go a little bit more deep into what the sport was, and I brought up a project to Ken Thompson, and I said, I asked him that we needed to start signing talent. We had seen fighters that came through our shows that we were doing at the time, 4 to 6 shows a year.
Is this going to Ontario?
Yes, we started at
the Doubletree?
Doubletree in Ontario, the Doubletree in Ontario, that was our home.
Which fans, man, I had some awesome shows, bro. Awesome shows.
Thank you.
Great. Were you the matchmaker on those?
Yes, I was the matchmaker.
Props to you on that, Alex, man, because, hey, you never had one-sided fights. And that goes to show fans that, and again, I'm not going to say names, who are the good matchmakers and who are just trying to make a dollar. Because when you have a fight that are both competitors, that's a fan favorite.
Absolutely.
Fans love that.
Absolutely.
They don't want one-sided fights, bro.
Yep. And I agree with you 100%. You don't want to see, and also it doesn't help the fighter himself.
Exactly.
If you have a kid that is 17-0 with 17 knockouts in the first round, either he's way too good or you're not doing your job as a matchmaker. By the time he goes to the next level, he's not going to know much other than just hype.
And this goes back to, I'm not blowing smoke, Alex, this goes back to, you got to think about that fan that spent his hard work money to come watch a fight. Does he want to see a one-sided fight? He wants to see competitive fights. He wants to be if he's spending that money, that was the show. That's why Doubletree was always selling out.
Yeah.
That's why it was always selling out.
We had a good run there for 23 years.
23 years. Props to Doubletree, huh?
Yeah, I love that place. That was our home base. And out of that ring, along with Omega products in in Corona, which was one of the buildings that Mr. Thompson.
That was like a sister company, or
that is one of his companies. Okay. We actually did a lot of shows there on ESPN, on Showtime. Yeah. We were able to do big
those
shows.
Those are summer reviews.
Yes, those were summer because those were outside. But out of those two venues, we were able to get 6 world champions and a huge amount of.
I'm going to mention those. Champions. But is it fair to say, Alex, Mr. Thompson brought you in?
Absolutely.
And Mr. Thompson helped you, schooled you, whatever?
I owe everything to him. I owe everything to him. My career, I owe to him.
Mr. Thompson. And may he rest in peace. He went home to be with the Lord, and good man. Can I tell you a story? I think I told you already. Me and my brothers, not unfortunately, we made our own choices. We were in and out of problems, school, jail, the whole thing. I had an older brother that committed a gang murder. I'm not saying it was right, but it was. The reason I say gang is because I don't want you to think he was a rapist or something. But anyways, he did 35 years straight in prison. 35 years straight. When he finally was coming home, I prayed and I said, man, God, how are we going to get him a job? Who's going to want to hire him? Just by chance, I seen Mr. Thompson. I go, hey, Mr. Thompson, I have a brother that's getting out of jail, because Mr. Thompson helped a lot of people. Mm-hmm. You think he can come to your place and apply, And he goes, sure, Ray. And I go, you know what, Mr. Thompson, I got to be honest. He was in prison for murder, 35 years straight. He goes, don't worry about it, Ray. As God is my witness, he hired my brother, let him get his Class A at the yard, Class A, and now he's working for UPS. I mean, what a humble man, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people, especially the way my brother looked, a lot of people, but you know what? He was there to put his hand out. And this goes to show, again, he helped out Alex, and look where Alex is going today.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting.
No, you didn't interrupt at all.
A little tear jerker there, but yeah.
No, but that's true. That was his character.
That was him, bro.
He was a very charismatic man. We signed fighters in 2004. By 2007, we had 2 world champions that we had built from scratch. And he always trusted me, and I was very, very lucky that I was able to work for a man like that. I learned everything from him. The way that his style of doing business, the way how he was compassionate, the way that he dealt with everybody at the same level. He was a very well-to-do man, self-made man.
Yes.
And he never forgot that. And everything that we did in boxing was because of as far as Thompson Boxing is concerned, was because he had the vision and to push me through and to help me through.
Was he tough at times? Or he always had it just seems like he always had a compassionate way of chin checking you.
He was tough, but we had a fantastic relationship in the sense that because we were so new and fresh at this.
We learned off each other, no?
We learned off each other, and then once he knew he had trust in me, and he understood where we were going, he never questioned anything that I was doing. He was a terrific boss that gave me the wings, and I always told him that. That I always was very thankful because he allowed me to grow. Just a side story along those lines. In 2003, I get a call from Don King, and they want me to work doing PR for the company, for Don King Productions. So they have a huge fight in Atlantic City. There was 9 world titles at the time. It was a December show, and I was a little bit preoccupied because I didn't know what Ken Thompson was going to tell me, what Kenny was going to say.
You know how he was going to feel about it?
Exactly. So it was a job that obviously I wanted to take. It was very good money at the time, but it was a great opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So I went up to him.
At the time, Don King pretty much was probably one of the top guys.
Absolutely, yeah. Him and Bob Arum. At the time, Don was still, he is a legendary promoter, but he was at the top of his game. So I went up to to Kenny and I said, yeah, look, I have this opportunity to work the show. We were not promoting at the time any fights because we never had any shows during December or January. And then he said, he didn't even let me finish. He goes, go, do it. Wow. I go, are you okay with that? He goes, all I want you to do is to be a sponge. Just learn everything.
Yeah.
And I did 2 jobs at Thompson Boxing and Don King for almost 4 years. So I was going back and forth. At the time, we were only promoting 4 to 6 shows a year. So I had a little bit of time. And I would go for months to work for Don King and then come back and do my stuff over here. And I learned a lot from doing that. But most importantly, I learned how much he trusted me, how much he wanted me to go and grow within the business and learn everything. And that takes a lot of vision. A lot of people would be a little bit more jealous of a situation or worried about
don't take from me,
Right,
that's
exactly.
your own career. Don't be taking from me. You can't go,
If you want to do that, just do that and forget about this. But no, he had the vision to allow me to learn a lot more because I was going to bring much more to the table and to our own company, to Thompson. So we were able to do a lot
Great
of good
move,
stuff.
man. That was a good monopoly move there.
Yeah. Yes, it was terrific.
So, and as far as I know, the fighters that you have, I missed my notes here, but Timothy Bradley.
Yes, Timothy was the second fighter that we signed. The first one we signed was Josecito Lopez.
Oh my God!
Yeah, out of
great
Riverside.
Fighter there.
Yeah, out of Riverside. The second one was Timmy.
Timmy, huh?
Yeah, yeah. That's what we,
And if you're putting 2 and 2 together, fans, I'm sure you know Timothy Bradley. He's a commentator now, but great world champion.
Yes, he was a great world champion. Started from scratch, zero. I turned him pro. We had a fantastic run. We went from the DoubleTree, Omega Products in Corona, to winning a world title in England, in Nottingham, England, a few years later on Showtime. We went from Showbox to Showtime Championship Boxing, and then to HBO. Had him until he was 27-0, unified world champion, WBO, WBC. Obviously, we had a lot of great help along the way, not only from the networks, but we had a co-promoter at the time and a good friend. He just passed, Gary Shaw.
Yes. Rest in peace,
Rest
Gary.
in peace. Yes, we had a great partnership with him. That was our first world champion. Then we signed Yanni Perez, who only had about 4 fights at the time. He was a little old for a professional fighter. When we got him, he was 28, 29 years old.
Yeah, that's old for a fighter. Yeah,
that's old for a fighter. But he had an incredible amateur career. He just didn't turn pro earlier because he was in the Colombian army, and he wanted to finish up because he was gonna be getting an apartment in Colombia for him and his family.
Okay.
So he wanted to secure that. So he turned pro at 27. When we got him, he was 29.
Wow.
But made him into a world champion. He was the IBF bantamweight champion of the world. He was a terrific fighter. Had a couple of world title defenses. And when we had 2 world champions at the time, basically Kenny gave me the keys and says, just run with it. It was so we had a tremendous
So that's major trust there, man.
Yes. So we had, and those guys were on Showtime all the time, on HBO. Josecito had a tremendous career. We had him for a long time. We did then a deal with Dan Goosen, another one of our co-promoters and good friends.
Always, one thing about Josecito that I noticed, always gave it his all. His fights were always exciting, even when he lost.
Even when he lost.
He always had
We had a Showtime fight. I'll never forget this. We had a Showtime fight in Florida, and he was winning against Edgar Santana. He was doing very well. He dropped the guy twice, but from the 8th round on, or the 7th, he started just getting. The guy was backing him up, and then we lost a split decision. And I was, what happened? We were winning, you had it. So I go back to the dressing room, which at the time we were this motorhomes and this place where we were at in the casino. And I go in there and I go, what the hell happened, Josecito? He goes, I couldn't see. I go, whoa. Did you get thumbed? What happened? And he goes, no, I just couldn't see. So I looked at Henry Ramirez, his trainer, I go, what the hell happened? What's going on? And he didn't want to tell me. So I go, Jose, really? What was it that you couldn't see? Because I want to go back to talk to the commission and say, look at the gloves. I don't know. He goes, I lost my contacts.
Wow.
And I had no idea that he was blind, basically, without his contacts. Anyway, Jose gave us a tremendous career. He had a wonderful career. He fought at 140, 147. Excuse me. Anyway, so he did very well.
And one of my favorite fighters, I just love the style, was Roman.
Oh, Danny Roman.
I just love Danny, the way he fought. I mean, talking about picture perfect skills.
Oh, he was.
You know, he just made it look so sweet, so nice. I mean, his combinations, you know.
Danny was
very quiet
he was a
youngster,
phenomenal boxer and a better person.
Yeah.
He men of faith, just a terrific kid. I mean, I have a million stories about it. That was our last world champion. He was super bantamweight champion of the world, unified WBA and IBF, I think. Yes, both of them. And he had a good number of title defenses. He did very well for himself.
Yes.
The story with him was interesting. When he started, his manager and trainer is Eddie Gonzalez, one of the good trainers here. A little bit unknown, which shouldn't be right. That's a terrific trainer that cares about the fighters more than he cares about himself, and this is true. Eddie brought him to me. We put him on the ring. He looked very good. He was very, he went into the attack all the time, but he lacked the defense. So we did a fight. I put him on a card that we were doing in Shumas on ESPN show, and he was just a 4-rounder. And it was by luck, he was the swing bout, and he ended up on television. And it was the fight of the night. It was tremendous back and forth. But the problem I had with it is that he was getting hit way too many times. So I sat down with both of them, and I told them, look, we signed you, but I don't see anything in the future for you. I'm worried that, you're just going to run into a wall one of these days, and let's just part ways. So we released him. He did a couple of fights outside of us, obviously, because we were no longer together. And then Eddie came back to me and he says, I worked on his defense. I worked on a lot of different things. Can you give him another chance? I said, okay, let's look at him again. And he was a different fighter.
Great move.
He was a different fighter. Sign him again.
Yeah. But you know what's funny, Alex, when you say stuff like that, how you cut him, you asked him, we're going to part ways. Even though you see some fighters getting hit a lot, some fans, there's certain, some of us like boxers, some like brawlers, but some fans like that.
Of course.
How he can get hit and hit back, I mean, exactly. they like that, But you as a manager slash manager slash promoter, I understand what you're saying. I don't want to put you into a situation where you're going to get hurt, obviously. And I'm not going to encourage you to, I'm going to sign you and sign him, but if you're not showing me nothing, and that was cool that you admitted that.
If every fight is life and death at early stages of your career, usually it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, it's fun for the fans,
that likes that style.
Exactly, but and most people love two guys going at it inside the ring. I mean, we all do. But long-term, business-wise, it's not going to go anywhere. You're only going to, see a guy that is going to eventually get hurt. And I didn't want to see that in him. He was a very nice young man,
good
right?
Kid, man.
But then when they came back, I realized that he had a lot of potential, and little by little he got better and better and better. When he was terrific. When he won the world title against Sean Kubo in Japan, knocked him out in the 7th or 8th round. From that point on, we did, I think, 4 or 5 title defenses, and I used to tell Eddie, his manager, I said, I don't remember when was the last time that he lost more than a round in a fight, because he was that good. He was terrific.
He was that good,
He was that good, So he had a fantastic run, and at one point he just, after he fought Fulton and we fought for the WBC and WBO title at the time, I think he ran out of gas, and he decided to retire, But
in my opinion, he retired at the top of his
absolutely,
game.
absolutely,
You know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely. So
Who wants to go in there and get embarrassed? And so that props to Rahman that, you know what, I'm good, I'm done. And boxing's been good to me, you know?
yeah, he was a clean-cut guy, just a hard-working kid that every day he was in the gym, he was trying to get better. Every day, and he did, and he was a good listener. I was very surprised of, he had a lot of ring IQ, as we call it, but he could listen to his trainer, and he would, make the adjustments. And again, Eddie's also part of the success. Eddie Gonzalez is part of the success because he would analyze all the opponents as we got into.
You build them. You build a fighter. Exactly. And that's the way to do it.
And he did it right. And we were there to help him. He was probably one of the best fighters that I've ever dealt with inside the ring. When he was at the top, it was just fantastic to see what he did in there.
And then going back to your Ontario shows when you were matchmaking there, you had Chris Arreola on there. You had some major names on there that moved on to be, in my opinion, stars in boxing.
Yeah, we had. I mean, we're very fortunate, Ray, that we are in the market that we're in, that we live in Southern California. There's so many great fighters, not only in the Inland Empire, I mean, obviously in LA.
We're the soup of boxing.
Yeah.
You got everything.
You got everything. The best gyms are here, the best sparring is here. Guys come from all over the world to get better.
That's right.
So, yeah, we're very fortunate to have a a huge number of fighters that came through our system, whether they were signed with us or not. Most of the guys that did very good, we had, Juan Carlos Burgos, who fought for a world title 3 times. We had Mauricio Herrera that started with us. And a number of fighters that came through Thompson and that we were able to do good shows and good stuff for.
So let's go back. It's been 2 years since Mr. Thompson went home?
Yes, he passed on February 10th, 2023. And I remember that day, obviously because it
stuck out.
It stuck out, and it also was the date of his birthday. So,
well, I didn't know that, man.
Yeah, we had a show actually that night, and
I worked it. Yeah.
I heard the news while we were on the second or third fight. I got a phone call, and the family was requesting not to say anything.
Yeah.
So it was the toughest event that I have ever done in my life because I had to just keep it all, cool and not go crazy over it because, he was already, he had some health issues, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah.
But always had a smile on his face.
Always a smile on his face.
Always
Absolutely.
a smile on his face.
Absolutely.
So let me get a little personal, Alex. You can address it or not. That night, after the show was over and you knew he passed, what was running through your mind? Were you thinking, that's it for me? Am I going to move on? Am I going to carry his legacy? Tell the fans if you want, how were you feeling that night besides sad,
Yeah, it was something that I had been thinking for a while already because,
Because mind you, he was up in age already.
Yes.
And yes, we could all see, I'm 60 years old, so I could see,
really?
Mr. Thompson.
You look 75.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. Thank you. But, but you know what I mean? So when he passed, I wasn't surprised. I was just shocked. Like, oh man, Mr. Thompson passed. First thing I thought about was my brother. I just, God be with them. And, but.
It was extremely, obviously, tough because he was, besides being a boss to me, he was a father figure. And I never for a second thought that I was going to be out of the business or leave the business because one, it's the only thing that I know how to do well.
Yeah.
And two, I have I don't see myself on an 8-to-5 job. Because of this business, I've been able to travel the world. I've been able to do a lot of things. We've been able to, promote a lot of good fighters. And every time I'm somewhere, it doesn't matter what the situation is. You could be sitting at a desk doing something different, but no.
Having somebody checking you. Hey, where you going? Yeah.
So I consider myself very fortunate. So not for a second did I think, if anything, I wanted to make him proud.
Yeah.
Because
thank you God. So far, so good, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And he loved the sport, and and loved it so much that I could never just walk away. You know, that was never in my mind.
And to be honest, thinking now, saying it now, that would be dishonest to him that you did, if you did quit.
Right.
You know, like, what are you doing? What are you thinking, man?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously the career I have has been very important. I mean, we have been able to do important stuff in the sport thanks to Thompson boxing, but also, you know, I've been able to develop other stuff, and I could never walk away from it. No.
Yeah. Hey guys, I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. One of them is Black Widow Investigations Legal Services. Tell them Popeye Ray sent you. Their phone number is 818-599-3613. Black Widow Investigations. Hey, want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Rivera Towing. Did you know in 2023, they were the top towing service in the Inland Empire, and they serve all of Southern California. But I want to give a shout out to Rivera Towing. You need them, tell them Popeye Ray sent you. But at the same time, he's venturing out. He's opening up his own sports bar, and it's going to be called Ringside Bar. It's not open yet, and keep your ears open for the grand opening day. It's going to be in Lake Elsinore. They're going to have boxing, MMA, but the bar is shaped like a ring. That's crazy, guys. The bar is shaped like a ring. Keep your ears out for the grand opening. It's going to be in Lake Elsinore. They're going to have food, alcohol, the whole thing, man. A DJ. They're going to have boxing, MMA, football, baseball, every kind of sport. But check them out. That's going to be Rivera Towing, and they're owner of soon to be Ringside Bar.
We want to also thank our friends at Kelstar Roofing. Kelstar Roofing specializes in residential roofing, installing concrete roofing tiles and composition asphalt shingles. They have been serving the Inland Empire for over 31 years. Call on Kelstar Roofing for all of your roofing needs.
So you start your own promotion, right?
Right.
Here it is, guys. And so far, you've had how many shows? Just on?
I think we've had 6 or 7 shows so far. It's a collective effort. Obviously, I'm not the only one that is a part of this. I have a number of partners that are associated with this endeavor. But the interesting part about it is that obviously I bring my experience into the table. We have a lot of television experience because of the other members of the group, and now we have developed this new system in which we are in a bunch of different networks. All our shows are carried live. We're live on Fox Deportes. We're live on Fubo in English and Spanish. We're live on Stadium, Great TV, and we go tape delay on Estrella. So the footprint is much larger than we were able to do before. We're here at Long Beach.
Let me ask you that, and I don't even have a clue, but was it pushing us back as a sport, as a promoter, as a manager when Showtime left?
Absolutely.
And HBO? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's
so everything's streamed now, no?
Everything's streamed. I think the television world doesn't know what it's doing with itself as far as boxing is concerned.
But yet, the pay-per-views were outstanding.
Yes, some of them have been outstanding, and but it's also not helping the market in the sense that people, have to think twice about spending $90 on a recurring basis to buy all this pay-per-view. Some of them are worthy of a pay-per-view, but some of them are not. But
especially when you have a pay-per-view week after week after week, you're like,
you gotta
which
pick.
one do I? Yeah,
exactly.
Which one do I? Yeah.
You gotta pick one of them, But yeah, losing Showtime is hasn't been good for the sport. Losing HBO was terrible for the sport. Things change, obviously. I mean, you don't get the newspaper the same way they used to get it a couple years ago. When a kid came by and threw it on your driveway. We don't consume media the same way that we were consuming it before. Everything's streamed. So I think we're in that transition to find out who we are as far as boxing is concerned. We were streaming at Thompson, all of our shows. It was the only way that we had for us to expose or give exposure to the fighters. I started a production company within Thompson Boxing that was pretty successful because prior to that, I was able to put our fighters on different shows with a lot of different promoters. But the business has shrunk a lot in that sense. And since the pandemic, even more. So you do have the 4 big promoters that are out there that have great deals with the Zone and now with Prime and ESPN. But a few years ago, and I'm not complaining, it's just the reality of what the business is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
We had Telemundo, you had HBO, you had all these different networks that gave you the ability to give exposure to your fighters. Nowadays, it has shrunk a lot. There's a lot of great talent out there, but not many opportunities. So I think we're, everything is cyclical in business. So that we're going into a different cycle, and with this new company, CBN, we want to be part of that cycle because, as I mentioned, we have networks that are very interested in putting our shows on, and then we've been able to combine a lot of them, and that's very helpful.
Does that go when a network comes at you? What is it, like a contract? I mean, okay, we'll sign for 5 shows, like a fighter somewhat? Is that how it works?
We do have a contract with Fox and Fubo. That is a long-term contract. It's a long-term agreement.
So we can watch the shows on those?
Absolutely. You can watch them live. So the June 22nd show, for instance, is going to be live at 8 o'clock.
On what?
Fox Deportes.
Fox Deportes, guys, June 22nd.
And also on Fubo Sports.
Fubo Sports, guys.
English and in Spanish, so we simulcast. In the same network is into English and in Spanish. And also if you're on Stadium, which you can watch on different channels, we call them OTTs or whatever else is in this new world. So we have, we've done the numbers. We're in 160 million homes in the United States.
Wow.
So that's for our small company that just started is pretty impressive, and we're very proud of it.
But I think it's fair to say, Alex, too, that you brought all the Thompson fans because now they're following you here.
Yes, and we.
Because you're 30 miles away from Ontario now.
Right.
We're in Long Beach.
Yeah, we just continue on the venue that we're at only sits about 1,400 people, so it's about the same size. It's a new brand basically. We're starting a new brand. Some of the fans will travel, but there's so many great fighters that we're able to feature and that we're able to sign into CBN that the only thing I see is just growth. It's gonna grow its own legs in due time.
So let me ask you this: who do you have signed right now? Who are you managing right now? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, not management, but promoter-wise, I do have my own company. It's called Camponovo Sports, where I hold my license for being a promoter now in the state of California, and as a matchmaker also. So we have a few fighters that are assigned to us. We have Luis Lopez, Nelson Oliva. There's guys that are starting. I also have Miguel Madueño, who's fighting on ESPN. I have Brandon Benitez, who's fighting on ESPN in June. Both of those guys are highly ranked in the lightweight and featherweight divisions. I have George Acosta, who's going to be fighting here at the BMO on August the 3rd. So
that's going to be a big show as well.
That's a huge show, yes. It's a very, very, very big show. So a number of prospects that are just starting. So we're trying to get them in the right places, the right spots with the right fights. Some of them are going to be featured here in our shows at CBM, and some of them are going to be outside.
So who do you got fighting the 22nd that you know right now it's locked in?
The main event is going to be Tatum Beltran, young kid, undefeated out of Huntington Beach. They call him the Butcher. He's a terrific fighter. Also managed and trained by Eddie Gonzalez that I mentioned before. And he's fighting Cesar Villarreal, who's a Colombian opponent. Also great fighter. Used to be one of the guys that we had at Thompson Boxing. That's the main event. Then we have Juan Sanchez, who trains with Ben Lira, the great Ben Lira. He's
my daddy there.
Yes, one of the greats that I love to talk to and just soak everything in, because the experiences that he has and the experience that he has is.
They call him the guru of boxing.
He is. Guys that have very important, I think, a lot of our careers.
Trained my son.
Yes, Adrian. Who's
3 of my sons he's trained.
Yes. So
and he trained me. He's the one that gave me my canvasback Corona nickname, Piñata, towards the end.
So yeah, we have Juan Sanchez was a 140-pounder, undefeated, 7-0. He's also going to be on the show. Hector Lopez, who's a 4-0 kid. Jose Bravo, another one of Ben's guys.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of local talent, good ticket sellers.
Yes.
Action fighters.
I was just going to say,
You know,
those four names that you mentioned, I know off the top of my head, great action fighters.
Action fighters. So if you wanna see good fights, evenly matched, guys that are actually putting it all inside the ring, just you should come and check us out.
You should be here. Getting on the website and getting those tickets, guys.
That's right.
Getting those tickets. To me, it's always more exciting to watch it in person than on TV, but that's me. You know what I mean?
There's nothing better than watching a fight live.
You feel the aura in the atmosphere.
And if you sit close enough, I mean,
get a little blood on you, bro.
A little bit of blood.
That's right.
Action and blood, yes.
So Alex, let's talk, if it is a bad thing, how do you deal with some of the managers? Because I know some of them can be a little...
Yeah, there's...
Or trainers even.
Yeah, there's...
Slash managers.
There's everything in this business, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
You try to stay away from those that don't do good by you. I'm sure I'm not loved by everyone.
No.
I have a style of doing business like we all do.
Yes.
And my style is pretty simple. Just do what you say you're going to do. Get on the scale, make sure that you're on weight. And then,
you hear that, fighters?
Yes. You have one job.
That's right.
Get on the scale and make that weight. And how do I deal with them? I try to be as personable as possible. I try to be as straightforward as possible. Sometimes you have to bite your tongue because you want to tell them certain things.
Yeah.
You just got to act professional. And as long as you know who you're dealing with, you see them coming, then, some of them will stay with you, some of them will go by. This is not an easy sport. It's not easy for the fighters. You got to wake up early in the morning. You got to be 20-some-year-old, and instead of going partying with your buddies, you got to go up and train. It's a very difficult job from that point of view. It's a very difficult job from a promoter's point of view also. A boxing dollar is the hardest dollar to earn. Any other sport, things are a little easier. You have sponsors, you have millions of dollars in contracts, but building up a fighter takes a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of time, But when you're in it for so long, nothing surprises you anymore. You can have a guy that is 20-0 that is talented, but he just might find a beautiful girl, and then he might leave everything behind.
Training.
Why
going
am I
training today?
And there's also the guys that are 13-0 that have, you have picked the right opponents for them to be built, and then they think that they're already there. That they already have achieved a lot. And it's very hard to have conversations with some of those fighters and trainers and people.
Let me interrupt by saying, do some of these fighters no, I want this kind of money, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it happens all the time. They demand it, and reality.
Do they actually say that, Alex? Though?
Yes.
I want this, or I'm not.
Yes.
What do you say to that, bro?
I say, well, that's great. I would love to. I also want to be blonde, 6'4", and 30 pounds less than what I am today. But
exactly.
Nothing happens.
Try to get all buff here.
Exactly. Nothing happens immediately, right? So, all the guys, if they are good listeners, not just for me, for management or trainers, they'll get somewhere. You have the know-it-alls, that they don't want to listen to what you're intending to do. But my experiences have been above board with everybody. Everybody has been really, really good. You find the difficulties, but you either have to have a conversation or you just got to show them the way. Some of them will listen, some of them might not. You just got to take it one day at a time, one conversation at a time. Yeah. But some guys will make certain demands, and some of them early on in their career, and then you just got to allow them to see the reality. That's all.
In California, I'm only speaking on California. There's every contract is the state looks through it first?
You have,
Or is it like a mandatory minimum type of thing?
no, you have to, you could do it either way. You could do it just a civil contract and then they could sign it. It's better to do it with a commission in case you need to have an arbitration, so then at least you have that backing, the fighter has that backing too. But we could do a contract in different states. We could do according to the law of that state, whatever is more convenient. But the most important thing is that the promoter is protected, the fighter is protected, the manager is protected. It's not unilateral. You cannot just do it into something that is convenient to one side. It has to be, good for all sides. Everybody has to be comfortable. Everybody needs to be able to work with. I do contracts that are long term, and everybody's like, why would I be with you for that long? I said, well, if I do good, you should be happy that you're with me for a long time, right?
Well, the proof's in the pudding. Right. Look at the fighters you had that you already took to the championship level.
Right. And
so, in my opinion, if you're offering me a long-term contract, I'm going to jump on it. You know what I mean?
Sure,
because you obviously already have a road record that speaks for itself.
I appreciate it, Ray, and I would sign you, no heartbeat. Yeah,
Canvasback Corona fighting on June 22nd. No, I'm not. But with that said, where do you where do you want your promotion to go? What is your long-term dream?
Long-term dream is obviously to build some fighters now. Some of them from scratch, some of them that already have some experience, being able to grow into bigger venues, being able to do different types of contracts with other television networks, and just growth, right? The first thing I want is to be able to pay the bills, because this is a startup.
Well, you know what? Let me interrupt this real quick. I forgot to give props where props is probably needed. The wife?
Yes.
She got your back?
Absolutely, 100%. She's my backbone.
That's right.
Can't do anything without her.
That's right.
She's terrific.
If mama ain't got your back, it's like work doesn't go right that day.
I'm blessed in that sense. Family is everything. Yeah.
I've seen your wife at a few shows, and she's always seems like she's happy with you.
Yes. So we
that's a blessing. Man.
Yes, and
I wanted to give.
Thank you.
Mrs. Alex out there props.
Beatrice is the backbone of not just what I do, but our family.
I've seen your daughter, your son there.
Yes. They love the sport. They've been through it all with me, seeing my ups and downs. Yeah, absolutely. But mainly now that I started this venture, she's the one that is there saying, yeah, go for it. You got to keep on doing it. Things have changed tremendously for me, obviously. I used to have a regular job at Thompson Boxing. I was the general manager and matchmaker there. Now I'm my own boss. Things are different, but I couldn't be any more excited what the future holds for us. I think we have tremendous potential as a company. I can see it. As long as guys are inside the ring and that bell goes off, and I see Ray Corona letting the guys do the thing over there, then everything's great.
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with that said, how do you work with other promoters? Do you even interact with the other promoters?
All the time.
Because again, you have fighters that'll fight other shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I always wondered, how does that work? Oh no, I only want you from my own show. No, if there's an open spot there that you feel he can win in that venue, you'll go with another promoter?
Absolutely. Look, this is a business, obviously.
That's right.
So you want your fighter to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because if they're making a lot of money, you're making good money.
Exactly. The hand washes the hand.
Exactly. So, and you also have to give them the opportunity to go outside of a system that you created for them, right? I believe that everything goes from the matchmaking side of things. I believe in the fact that whoever I'm putting in a position that is a world title contention or whatever has already learned the job. They have excelled in what they're doing. They have proven themselves more than me or the fans that they could do this. And that's only by matching them with the right kind of a guy. Taller, smaller, sapa, tougher, slower, faster. And it's a roller coaster. It's not always uphill or downhill. You have to get there. But if they already have proven themselves, then it's time for them to go out there and be greater.
So if 360 calls and says, "Hey, Alex, I got a spot for your fighter,"
I'm in.
You're in.
I'm in.
Oscar calls. I got
I'm
a
in.
spot for your fighter.
Yes, I have been able
Top
to.
rank, same thing, huh?
Yes, I've been fortunate enough to build great relationships with everybody. Worked with basically every promoter in the world.
So that's something a lot of fans had asked me. Do promoters work with each other?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're talking shop all day long, and who do you have? What do you do? What can you do for this?
And the same with you. I'm sure you'll call them. Hey,
Yeah.
I got a spot. You want it?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, for me, the most important thing is to take that other step. While we're growing here in our company, there's other much bigger companies that have that obviously have big shows. As I mentioned to you, I have the fighters that are going to be busy this summer, that are going to be in a bunch of different other promotional companies that I'm able to put on, and it's a huge industry because we're worldwide. But boxing is a very small group of people. When you go to conventions for the different organizations, you always see the same people.
Exactly.
Right? The same officials are there. The same friends that you made, and are always there.
And tell the fans, what do you go to these conventions, the WBC, the NABF? What do you go there for? What are you there?
I go to drink, mainly.
Like a pretty much party,
No. Actually, it's you go there with portfolio of fighters. Not only that you're telling other promoters that these guys are available, you also go there to make sure that you put them in a position to be ranked in the world.
Yes.
You always want to be. There's obviously rules in each one of these organizations. You cannot just have a guy that is 2-0 to have him in the ratings. They have to be 8-10 round fighters, and you want to make sure that they're qualified enough to be in the ratings, and that they're in the top 15 of the world, because then if they're in the top 15 of the world, you're just one step away from fighting for a world title. So you go there to lobby for your fighters. You go there.
That's a good way of putting it. Lobby.
You go lobby for your fighters.
fighters.
You go there to keep those friendships that you built. You go to network.
So when Alex calls, it's like, who? No. Alex.
Yes.
That's right.
And like I said, you see the same friends, the same people over and over again.
Yeah.
We've done co-promotional agreements with Matchroom. We've done co-promotional agreements with Gary Shaw. We've done co-promotional agreements with Banner Promotions, with Artie Pellulo. We worked with everybody. I've worked with all the promoters out there. We've done business with Don King. You name it. Throughout the years, and that's the only way you grow. For the way I was brought up, like I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, we didn't have an HBO that had a show for us every month. We didn't have a showtime. We had to get through the front door, back door, window, whatever, because we needed to
waiting in the parking lot to talk to them. Yeah, exactly.
We needed to
get it
and then get the opportunities for our guys. And it's still the same today for me. I don't have the ability to put a show on any of the networks. I have to work with other people, but I'm okay with that. I understand where I'm at in this business. And my ego is not as important. What is important is that everybody that has worked hard has an opportunity.
Exactly.
And it is also an opportunity for me. So that's basically the mentality.
All right, let me get to some juicy questions that Jack Reese asked.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to throw it on Jack. But how you feel about the judging nowadays?
I think we're in a time of transition here, specifically in California.
Well, let me start by this, Alex. In California, we have officials. Jack Reese has a class, Sole Arbiter. It teaches referees and judging.
What can he teach?
I don't know, man. I don't know why they haven't asked me. But anyway,
one of the greats.
That's right. So Jack Reese, Tom Taylor, Russell Mora, they have this class. We have officials from all over the world coming to this class. They're not necessarily California, but Andy Foster, executive officer, Mark Relia, they hold us, and I'm tooting my own horn here, they hold us accountable, bro.
Yes.
If we drop the ball, like Andy says, if you bring any shame or embarrassment to California, you will not work.
Right.
You will work eventually, but you will not work. When a judge does a split decision, and there is split decisions, let me tell you, Andy Foster will sit you down. And you know what? I'd like to just brag on that. In Sole Arbiter, in a box rec, the top judge in the world is Fernando Villarreal. Did you know that?
No.
Look at his percentages. He's the top judge. There's 120 judges on box rec.
That's great.
Fernando Villarreal is the #1 judge in the world.
Wow.
In the world, bro.
In the world.
And you know what? I got to give props to Andy and Mark for keeping us accountable. And the reason why I asked you that is because there's been questionable judging, but not in California.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had our issues in California, don't get me wrong, but we're held accountable.
Yeah.
And I know you were upset when Roman fought at the
forum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
You know
very
what I mean?
upset.
I won't mention no names, but
I was very upset.
You spoke your piece.
I was very upset because I couldn't believe.
And you weren't there, and you know, until you catch me lying, believe me, in the back room, why'd you see it like that? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I remember you speaking your piece. I tried to get out of your way because I didn't want you to hit me or anything. I wasn't a judge. But yeah.
Yeah, and then I had a long conversation after with Andy, and this is not personal at all. This is not personal. You know, you gotta voice your opinion, and it's not just because you think that they're doing wrong by your fighter. It's not about that. Yeah. It's about the essence of the sport. If my guy is losing,
he lost.
He lost. Yeah. It's okay. You know, this is a sport. You win, you lose. Yeah. But to have somebody not be careful enough about this young man or lady's career, yes. You know, that's just a detriment to the sport. We've had, not here in California, but in a bunch of other places, bad decisions, bad judging, poor refereeing. You know, when some guys are a little bit not, their timing is not right. They break the action when it's not necessary, or they don't jump in ahead, or they don't stop a fight when somebody's getting punished. That at the end of the day will hurt the fighter. That's more physical, right? But in the sense of a bad decision will affect somebody's career in a way that sometimes is not understood. An MMA fighter, for instance, will fight a championship fight after having a record of 6 wins and 5 losses. That doesn't happen in boxing.
Yeah, not in boxing.
The guy that lost 5 times will be, again, fighting for a world title really fast. In boxing, you lose a fight,
it can sometimes throw you
and
all
you go
the way
back not
to
one step. You could probably go 10 steps behind. You know, but if you lost, you lost. But if it's because somebody decided not to be careful about their work, and it's not concentrated, or the show or the event is too big for them, because it happens. I don't believe there's any corruption at all. I never said there's any corruption, and I never actually. It has to do with being accountable for stuff.
And this is why I say, this is why I brag on Fernando Villarreal. I mean, he's on his A game right now.
That's great.
You know, he's on his A game, and this is because Andy makes us go to training minimum every 6 months. And again, he could break bread with you, have coffee with you, but again, you bring any shame to California, you will not work.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And you know, we lost a great ref by moving to New York, and a judge, which is Max DeLuca. Max DeLuca was he's still doing championship fights outside of California, but
love will take you far places, bro.
That's right.
Max DeLuca got married. He moved to New York. Yeah.
Yes, but he was one of the best judges in the world. I would say, and he learned his craft by doing a lot of work. So, but when you started asking me the question, we're in transition now because the older guys that have been judging and refereeing are now just basically,
going
retiring
off into the sunset. Yeah.
Exactly, and then now you have the younger generation, and I think it's important that everything that we have done so far in California stays the same. It's very important that you still have all that knowledge.
And we work a lot, so there's you can't say, well, I haven't worked in a while. We work a lot.
Yeah.
We have the most shows
than any state.
In any state. Mm-hmm. I think we're only second in the world to Japan.
Yeah.
I think, How about the referees? Be nice, man. Be nice.
There's great referees in California right now.
And let me interrupt again by saying the fight's not about me. the fight's not about the referee. If you have to say, hey, Ray Corona, referee, obviously I was getting involved too much. The best compliment, I've said it before on my podcast, guys, the best compliment you could give me, I didn't know you did that fight.
Yeah.
You know what? I would like to think I let them fight out of a clinch. I just, you know what I mean? But Jack Reese and Tom Taylor have this class, and it's a small percentage when to stop a fight and when to let it go.
Yep.
And I know it's a dangerous step, you know?
It could be a slippery slope, but
yes.
Not because we're doing this interview and I'm in your show, but you are one of the best at letting guys work in there. You're not unsafe by any stretch of the imagination, but you let them work it out.
Hear that, Andy Foster?
So that is
Mark Raylia.
That is very important for what's going on the inside the ring. You know, Jack is terrific. Tom's terrific. We're lucky actually that we have that type of officiating here in California, and you know, there's a lot of championship fights, world title fights that are happening here, and you know that you're able also to go elsewhere because you know you have worked so hard to get there. So yeah. We're very, very fortunate here in the state of California.
Awesome. Well, hey Alex, we're gonna come to a close, but is there anything you want to say before I have some great questions I want to ask from the fans? You know, but anything you need to, again, June 22nd.
June 22nd. Yes.
Is going to be the fight here, guys. Come watch it live. Is there a website where they can get the tickets?
You get the tickets at CBNPromotions.com.
Second time again?
CBNPromotions.com is our website. You can buy them there. It's super easy, very easy system to use, like anything else. Tickets start at $60 that day, June 22nd.
Great show.
Great show. Great ambience.
Hey, it's like the DoubleTree. It's about that big. Every seat in the house is great.
Yep.
Every seat in the house is great, guys.
Yep. Yeah, and it's, you know, fan-friendly event. So bring
and
the
we're going to have the game that day?
Yeah, we're going to have the soccer game before from 6 to 8. At 8 o'clock fights start. We're going to have 7 professional fights.
Who's playing that day?
Mexico against Jamaica for the Copa America, which is going to be, I think, played in Houston, Texas.
Jamaican guys, bring your headgear and mouthpiece. No, I'm joking. only if you guys win. But yeah. But so here's my questions. What's your favorite football team, if you have one?
I'm not a football guy.
Okay, you're not a football.
I hate to say it. You have to take your medication.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not a football game. No, and I'm barely finding out your soccer.
Yes.
Who's your soccer team?
Well, I love Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Here in LA, I'm into LAFC. I love Argentina. I'm from Bolivia, but I love that. I love my country, but we're not that good. Argentina is my team. I've been able to travel quite a bit, and I've been able to watch a lot of soccer games out there. I just love the sport. Football, I watch, but not from a fan standpoint. I love the sport, but I don't have one team. I like the guys that are winning.
Yeah, all right, how about baseball? You watch baseball?
Yes, I watch baseball quite a bit. One of my sons used to play when he was younger, so I love the Dodgers, yeah.
There you go, the Dodgers guy. How about food? What's your favorite food? If you had to go out and take the wife tonight, let's just put it that way.
All right.
I know she's gonna pick.
Yes, you can't do no wrong with a great steak. You can't do no wrong with a great steak.
The more fat on it, the better. I love
a little bit of fat in it is fantastic, and a great single malt Scotch will do the trick.
There you go. There you go. Music?
I'm into everything. Depends, I love jazz, I love salsa, all the tropical music.
Even a little country, I like that.
A little bit of country, my wife's into country, so I like that stuff. So yeah, everything that, whatever would make me feel good at the time, I'm into. I'm a big fan of music. I have a huge collection of records at home,
Yeah. All right, Alex, well, hey, you know what? I want to thank you for coming on my show, man. I really appreciate it. Again, guys, I'll be airing this soon, so get on the website, get those tickets, June 22nd, right here in Long Beach. Come watch the fights. I want to thank you again, Alex.
Thank you, Ray. It was my pleasure. It was great.
Get on YouTube, tell your friends, subscribe, guys. God bless.